KU7VLC up here Grapevine Group Campground just south of Lake Roosevelt. How you doing?
Doing good, Orion. We are just about outside of where you left from originally. So we should be there in about an hour and a half according to GPS to kick off the winter field day festivities. Good hearing from you, buddy. So there you have it. Yeah, we're just doing a quick overnight trip up to Roosevelt Lake area. The guys are up there doing the what's called winter field day for amateur radio. I didn't bring any of my ham radio equipment on this one except for the little handheld, only because it's just a one-day trip, but it should be fun. And yeah, we got about a little under 2 hours drive to get there. So yeah. Well, we made it finally. And look at, you guys haven't seen these two in a really long time. How long's it been? Like, gosh,
at least
man,
a couple
like
years.
2.5 years, I think. I think it's
like
been
that.
summer of 2020.
It's been a while. Yeah.
During that that trial and tribulation era when Dirt Road Reset had to be born. Okay.
Yep. We were, I think the last time that I was on yours, I think we were doing Chili Mac.
The Chili Mac, yeah, okay,
Yes.
so that's one of our most popular videos. Orion was the one that we did, and I was like 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So,
You keep eating all the
yeah, I've
Chili
been eating
Mac
a
is
lot
what
of
you keep
Chili
doing.
Mac since then, yeah, and a lot less facial hair
I was
too.
mostly sitting behind the camera.
Yeah.
He was, yeah, Frank was testing some of the stuff as well too, so we're gonna see more Frank on this trip. You guys know Orion. This is Dirt Road Reset. My name is Chad. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Okay, so just like I told you in the previous video, we're going to be looking a lot deeper into the Kodiak Canvas Truck Tent. I recently got this a few days ago, or actually a few weeks ago, and this particular version is for the 5.5 foot to 6 foot bed. Fits nicely on my 2013 Ford F-150, as you'll see. One of the biggest differences with this one as opposed to the Napier that you guys have seen in so many of my other videos is the setup time and the teardown time. I'm going to try to do this in under 30 minutes this time, whereas the Napier usually takes me about 7 minutes. So let's get to that. I'll be nice and do it in a time lapse. That way you don't have to sit here and watch it for the whole 30 minutes. But yeah, full disclaimer, I did pay for this with my own money. Kodiak was generous enough to give me a slight discount because they're fans of the channel and want to see their awesome product showcased in the different environments that we use here on Dirt Road Reset. It was a very small discount. I believe this particular model goes for $499. You can find it on sale certain times of the year. I will put the link down below in the description. This part right here is by far the longest part of the process, and that is using these C-clamps to clamp down the rails. Seeing that it only took 10 minutes isn't that big of a deal, but if I really wanted to, I could actually do this before leaving and then just drive with these bed rails on. They'd be fine. We're at 30 minutes. Damn it. And the worst part is right now. It's quick, but it's a pain. That was actually the easiest it's ever went in. That's it, 38 minutes. So she's all set up. What's really cool about this tent is the proprietary 100% cotton duck canvas. They use a proprietary technology on this called Hydra Shield, and let me tell you, it works amazing. I wish I'd videoed it. I'll try to record it next time I do it, but after the last camping trip, I set this up and put the garden hose on it, and it's like the most water repellent material that I've ever seen. So I have no doubt during a snowstorm or a rainstorm that this thing would do absolutely phenomenal in keeping me dry. It is rated for 3 seasons. On the instructions and the manuals and stuff like that, they tell you it will withstand snow. Not heavy amounts of snow. However, you'll see me put this thing through heavy amounts of snow for sure. 3/4 inch diameter steel tubing throughout the awnings, the ribs here on the inside. And one of the things that I was concerned about when I got this is how much light would actually come in, and it's perfect. Enough light comes in to keep it nice and lit on the inside during the day, but not so much that it's blinding. So really cool. And as you can see, there are 5 ventilated windows. There's one here, one on top, on that side. This is a pass-through window in case you have a truck window that has a pass-through window in the back, but it does have mesh on it as well. And then of course the door here. And this is unlike any mesh that I've actually seen either or used. It's really good, high quality stuff. All of the zippers are YKK zippers, super strong, durable. I have not found a single stitch on this entire tent that is loose or missing. The inside, on the tailgate part here, is a really thick tarp-like material here to keep mud and stuff out. I've got a canvas Cabela's throw right here, a sleeping bag that I've just turned into something to keep it a little bit more insulated and strong. Very roomy. This is a 5-foot headspace from top to bottom, and I can sit in here just fine. I'm 5'11", and it does great. Probably see something else new in here that we got recently. That's the One Tigris table. Do a review on that in a upcoming video. We got the diesel heater hooked up for this trip here coming in. On the outside, here's the diesel heater going in. Kind of looks like a wagon train, right? Like somebody at our last camp trip, I think it was Felicia, mentioned I should get decals here on the side of the truck of horses, you know, pulling the covered wagon. But there she is. I like it. Again, pros and cons. It takes a lot longer to set up. It does not have a full tub design to it. And we'll see during the summer. I think it might be a little hot in the summer. I'm still going to use the Napier. I've got the new one coming for that. This is just going to be great for solo camping in cold weather, in adverse climates and stuff like that, or adverse weather conditions. Here's the thing. If you saw the last video, this was cramped with 2 cots in it when Liam and I were in it. I've got something coming that I think is going to be a game changer for camping with Liam when we do truck bed camping. And it's called a disco bed. I'm sure you've seen these. If you haven't, go check them out. It's a bunk bed. It's a bunk bed cot system that will allow us to have this space, because this is awesome having this real estate right here to do things. And instead, it'll be a bunk bed. So you guys keep asking for me to do more ham related stuff on these videos. I'm gonna call Liam on the ham radio right now and see if he answers. I gotta figure out what the... Liam and Mila are at my mom's house right now. And 7PHX would like to use the auto patch. So we'll see if it works. So it's ringing. Probably not going to answer because she doesn't recognize the number.
You have reached the voicemail.
And 7PHX, I'll be clearing.
Complete at 3:26 p.m.
Frank's got quite the setup here. He's got the... Frank, how big is this trailer?
It's a 19 feet in the box, so
19-foot trailer. And this is unlike any trailer you've ever seen. It might look like a normal 19-foot Apex Nano trailer that you see along the road, but once you get inside and you see what Frank has done to this thing, it's incredible. This is an all-in-one, off-grid, bug-out worthy fortress, for lack of a better term, that Frank has made this thing. We are doing the ham radio winter field day. There's just a few of us here, and usually we go all out for this, but this year, because a lot of us had to work and it's just an overnight trip, we didn't bring out all the radios and all the antennas like you've seen in other videos. Frank's got his, they call these a shack in a box. It's a FT, what is it, Frank?
the 991.
The 991, the Yaesu FT991. It does VHF, UHF, and HF, as well as 6 meters as well. And he's got his auto tuner on there. Looks like the nicest FBI vehicle I've ever seen in my life. Frank just pointed out, I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but his HF antenna, which is high frequency antenna, is going along right here, down to those bushes there. That's attached to a pole where the tall mast there is the VHF, UHF dual band diamond antenna. So Ryan, I've never seen one of these before.
Yeah.
You called me up a couple weeks or a few weeks ago and said that you had just gotten this.
Yep.
And I had to look it up to see what the heck it was you were talking about. And there's like a cult following for these things. This is a group that is not heard of all that often.
Yep.
But the limited research that I did said this is a darn good tent. And you got an REI, right?
Yep.
Take it away. Tell us about
Yep.
the tent, because this is
Well-
not like anything I've ever seen.
Yes, I did get this on REI. This is a Snow Peak Alpha Peak tent, I believe is the name of it. So it has an awning. So and you can, and I wish I had my seats over here, my chairs, but you can actually sit 2, possibly 3 people comfortably underneath this.
Yeah.
In a rainstorm, this would be a pretty good place to kind of hang out and just kind of chill out without having to you know, set up an awning outside or something of that nature. I had to do a little bit of research on the company because I've never heard of them, and so starting to look around, and they've got a lot of good quality. They've got pots, pans, silverware. They've got all sorts of different camping equipment, and from what I understand is a lot of the Japanese actually utilize their products. I mean, you just look at the quality of the I mean, you've got really good seams. This bottom is sorry about Cody here.
Cody.
He wants to be in on this. But it's got a really good thick bottom to it.
Yeah.
And I do have a tarp underneath this, only because I didn't know exactly what the bottom was like. This is my first time sleeping in it, and I slept comfortable. And it got down to about 32 degrees last night. This tent actually has 4 entrances.
Okay.
This is entrance 1. On each side of the tent, there's another entrance. I'll go ahead and open it up here.
Everything, I mean, you can tell the craftsmanship. Like, everything is high quality. I mean, the stitching is impeccable.
It's essentially got 3 poles. So there's a pole that comes up to a peak up here.
Okay.
And there's there's a pole that goes all the way across, and then you put in these poles here, and then you've got one more pole that stretches out the front of it.
Gotcha. We'll watch you take it down tomorrow too, to see.
And as you can see, I mean, there is a screen in here as well as a door.
Mm-hmm.
So I can have cross ventilation both left and right, as well as front and back,
Gotcha.
allowing us to.
And these pop out as well then too, right?
Yep, to allow upper ventilation.
Yeah.
There is another side on the inside. You can unzip the little triangle piece.
Right.
And allow upper ventilation. Reduces the condensation on the inside of the tent.
And in the summertime, or if you know you're not going to have any adverse weather conditions, you could by all means take this whole fly off,
Yep,
right?
I can take the whole entire fly off and sleep outside. And it's totally, like, if a rainstorm does pop up or something like that, it'll protect you.
Okay.
I like the fly because you can have, there is a little bit of a vestibule back here. And Cody, leave it. But there is a little bit of a yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a vestibule back here.
Okay. Yeah.
And then another door back here that I can choose to go in if I need to or want to.
Look at that. Yeah.
And then I've got another door on the other side over here. So there's 4 entrances to
Everything
this.
is seam taped too.
Yes. I didn't do that. That came from the factory. The tent is normally about a $500 tent. The key is if you've got the REI MasterCard credit card,
Yeah.
and you use that for your bills and stuff of that nature, and then pay it off, you get points for that.
Okay.
Which then allows you to purchase stuff. Plus, if you get a 20% discount, like I got this tent for right around about like $200 to $250.
Wow.
Because I had the 20% discount plus all my points from my credit card.
And one thing to be said about REI is a lot of people, think that REI's equipment is overpriced. Some of it is very expensive, but there's one thing that REI does better than anybody else, and that's their warranty.
Yep.
And their return policy
Yep.
is unmatched. Like,
Yep.
it just cannot be beat.
Correct.
One of the things that caught my eye right away when I walked up to this, not only does it just look like really good quality, but these poles are, I mean, that's a thicker diameter.
Yep.
Obviously.
Yep.
And
This is not
again,
a backpacking
everything is
tent.
it's just impeccable.
Yep. It's not a backpacking tent. It's definitely a car camping tent.
Right.
Or if you're going to go someplace, like I bought this primarily because if I'm going to be out in the woods for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I can live out of this. Again,
How long did it take you from start to finish setting it up for your first time?
Probably about 20 minutes.
Okay. Again, one of those things where the more you do it, the quicker you're going to get at it.
That's
obviously,
correct.
right?
Yep.
And again, you just kind of touched base on it too, depending on what weather you're expecting.
Yep.
But we also know that you shouldn't always expect the unexpected
Yep,
when it comes
yep.
to weather when you're camping.
Well,
But if you really knew that you had to really batten down the hatches on this thing, and make it ready for a snowstorm, say, it would take obviously a little longer because, like you said, you're going to have to
stake down all
everything down,
all the corners. You know, make sure that I've got tie outs. You know, to the specific points so that it withstands that wind load.
It's on all sides here. You got mid tie outs here.
Yep.
These are really great for snow loads, you know, and for wind, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Orion. That's
yeah.
great, man. I can't wait to see you take it down tomorrow. That way we can. I don't seriously. I want to see what it looks like without the fly on
and everything,
and how easily it packs in. The Snow Peak. Outdoor lifestyle creator.
Yep.
Since 1958.
And I've never heard of them until I started researching good tents, because I was thinking, oh, I'll just go get myself a Coleman tent.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, because I've had so many bad nights in a Coleman tent. I had one that like a 1/4 inch of snow fell on it and it just basically collapsed.
My goodness.
And I was like, okay, this is
so we shouldn't take the instant tent that I've been raving about on the past 2 videos in a snowstorm. I thought about doing that because it would make for great content, and I know all of you guys would love to see me suffer and have
fail.
Video of it fail in the middle of the night.
Because you know that's you know,
that's entertainment.
That's entertainment.
Right?
Yep. That's what this channel's all about, right?
Anyways, I'll put a link in the description on this tent. Again, the Snow Peak, and this thing is really cool. I don't know if there's any REIs around you. If there's not, simply just go online at the REI website and check this thing out.
Yep.
This campsite we're at actually has bathrooms. I know what you all are thinking. But yeah. We got the fire going. Frank got stuck working. And Orion and I were just talking about some of the funny things that we see in other people's YouTube videos. And let me preface before we go into this, I'm not trying to knock anybody or diss anybody's channel or throw hate. It's just there's some funny things that you see, right? And one of the things that we were just talking about is, first of all, the YouTube algorithm has changed. So, like, you know, I feel like it's redundant. Like, if you're watching YouTube in this day and age, you know that if you like a channel, you should subscribe to it, right?
Yep.
So that should probably go without saying, but I just said it, so.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, by the way. Oh, and tickle the little bell up there so that you get notified.
Right. And we don't post a lot, so don't worry. But the YouTube algorithm has recently changed in that what really matters is if you like the video, or like the first 5 minutes, because I know that's all you watch, right? They're probably not even watching this part.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube tells us creators what are the most popular parts of the video and like how often people watch. Most people only watch like 5 minutes of the video.
Yeah,
so
5 to 10 minutes. Then they
if you've
move
made
on.
it this far, hit that thumbs up button down below. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below on what you think of that Snow Peak tent back there, or what you think about the canvas tent, the Kodiak. Good comments and bad. I'm pretty good about keeping them both up there as long as they're cordial and civil and whatnot.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, one of the things that Ryan and I were just talking about was how a lot of YouTube videos now are we're not talking about the monetization ads that YouTube automatically puts in, but the ads that the creators themselves put in.
Yep.
And one of them that stirred up a lot of controversy lately is the lordship, like where you go to this website and you pay them a small amount of money and they will guarantee to give you a piece of land in Scotland.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I think it's Scotland.
Yeah, like a 1 foot by 1 foot square of land, and therefore you are now a lord or a lady.
Yeah.
in Scotland.
Because you now own land.
And it turns out, I mean, from the research I've done and like the other YouTubes that I've watched, it's complete you know. And then Orion brought up the funny ones. A lot of these guys that we follow are now doing ads for Manscaped, which is a male. Oh boy, how do we keep this PG? It's
electric razor.
It's a razor, clippers.
For
all
male
your body hair.
genitalia.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be for all the body, but
But I think it's for a target area
yes,
of the body is, well, you know.
yeah.
And so we were thinking, you know, God, like, what do you have to, like, what gets you to accept that? And clearly, we both come to the agreement that it's got to be money.
Yeah.
It's got to be money, right?
It's got to be money.
Because you can't, my fans of Dirt Road Reset, can you imagine just all of a sudden I'm saying, now wait just one moment. I want to put out an advertisement for Manscaped. You know, no.
That'd be
The
kind
only
of
thing
ridiculous.
we can think of is that there's definitely money involved, right?
Yep.
So if there's any executives with Manscaped out there watching, I'm looking to buy a new truck soon, and I might just do a Manscaped plug for a down payment on a truck. Whew, it is warm in here. It's 38 degrees outside, which isn't too terribly cold. It's gonna get much colder than that. I am going to get out of these clothes and into something a little bit more comfortable. Okay. So obviously having the diesel heater in here helps tremendously. But if I didn't have this, and if I just had the buddy heater, or if I had no heater at all in here, I would still stay pretty warm tonight. And the main reason being is you gotta have a good sleep system. I've talked about this numerous times in previous videos, so go back and see that on the sleep system. Basically, it consists of a closed cell foam pad, as close to your body as possible. I put mine right underneath the pad that comes with my cot. Then a good quality sleeping bag. Do not underestimate a sleeping bag. First of all, our values and stuff like that are pretty exaggerated, so you want to get a bag that you've done some research on, read the reviews on. This here is a Nemo Forte 20 degree bag. It's excellent. The R values on it are true and correct. Sleep bags are one of those things where you don't really want to skimp on spending money on. Next, I always have a wool blanket with me in the wintertime. Authentic wool, 100% wool, or a down quilt, 100% down, also amazingly effective. But the number one thing that people always kind of skimp out on when it comes to cold weather camping, if you're a cold sleeper, you can have all these things in place, but if you're not doing this one thing, you're still probably going to be cold, and that is your clothing. The best thing to wear is synthetics. Avoid cotton at all costs. Cotton does not go well in cold weather when you're wearing it as clothing. What I like to wear, and it works amazing, is polyester synthetic blends. These are thermals. Not the type of thermals that our grandparents wore that are kind of have that waffle pattern. Those are typically cotton. These are Heat Factor, I think is the brand I'm wearing here, Heat Factor thermals, and they are synthetic fibers, primarily polyester, and they're almost like spandex. They hug your body and they're not attractive at all. They show off all your unflattering dad bod features. But wow, this right here is the complete game changer when it comes to cold weather camping. And of course, 100% merino wool socks. Always put a fresh pair of socks on before you go to bed, because the socks you've been wearing during the day are typically damp even if they don't feel it. It's always a good idea to put a fresh pair of socks on before you get into your bag. That's about it. So our reading material for this trip is the history of the United States. I have, I think, 7 volumes of this by John Clark Ridpath. These books were published, these first editions were very late 1800s. This one here is from, I believe, 1893. I love world history. I'm a total geek about world history. And I also love antique books. So these go hand in hand. What I found is really cool about reading these old history books, not only is there absolutely zero political correctness in them, and there's some very crude language that would definitely be considered offensive in nowadays. But more importantly is the details that they go into some of the earlier happenings in the formation of our country are laid out much better in these books, especially in books like this where there's multiple volumes. Like this here, this volume covers from AD 1000 to 1607, and that's the first part of this book, and it ends with the history of Connecticut and Rhode Island. See you in the morning. Good morning. It is at 6:45 in the morning, and slept really good. Wound up keeping the heater on all night on the low setting, and it kept it a good toasty 70 degrees in here. Right now it is 30 degrees outside and 68 in here. And again, that's on one of the lowest settings, so stayed pretty toasty. We'll hang out for a little bit, hang out with the guys, and because we don't get to see them very often. I know I'm going to get some comments probably that we didn't really showcase much ham radio. And I had a feeling that was going to happen on this trip just because it's such a short trip. These ham radio trips that we do usually last 3 or 4 days. This is just an overnight, and it's a lot of work putting some of that stuff up. So we're going to be, but I promise we're going to be doing some big ham radio outings like that before, because those are a lot of fun. Yeah, so I'm going to get dressed and make some breakfast and coffee.
So this here is the Thurber's cholla cactus. Not edible. Orion says it is edible, but only with the thorns on it. I wouldn't take that advice. These ones you don't see as frequently as its really close cousin, which is the jumping cholla cactus. And that's a nasty little sucker right here. This one here is pretty harmless. You can get pretty close to it and it's not going to attack you like the jumping cholla. This is the jumping cholla, or should I say the infamous jumping cholla. Now the name is kind of a misnomer because this cactus doesn't actually jump out at you. What it's known to do is cling to clothes. As you even brush up against this thing, it's a nightmare. These little branches will detach themselves very easily, and what you're left with is a whole clump of spiny thorn cactus limbs that are almost impossible to get out of clothing, and even worse, into skin, dog paws. So the best rule of thumb is to just stay clear of them altogether. So we're winding down and putting another trip in the books. This was definitely one of our shorter ones.
Yeah,
you and I.
It was definitely short.
Overnight, not much ham radio, but we had fun nonetheless. We told you guys we were going to show you this tent with the rain fly off, and it really showcases just how unique this design is. I mean, look at that. There is nothing out there that looks quite like this. And I can see what you're saying when you say the wind should be on this side. but these poles are heavy duty. I mean, this thing will take a beating, man.
Yeah.
Again, the Snow Peak, look it up, description's down below. You know, at the end of these videos, we always end on one common theme, and that is if you or someone you know is suffering from anything that's racking the mind, stress, anxiety, PTSD, postpartum, did I say anxiety? Addiction. You can say
name it.
anxiety a couple more times
Yeah.
if you need to.
The biggest thing is we got to break the stigma.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, if you don't have any of those, well then, share with me what the magic ingredient
Yeah,
is.
please.
Because
I would
guarantee
love
you
to know.
somebody around you does have it. Break
Yep.
the stigma,
Yep.
and by all means, get the professional help you need. But
Yep.
I really do sincerely hope that you get outside and find your dirt road to reset. Till next time, guys, we'll see ya.
See ya.